Daisy Thomas to the
Daisy,
studio.
on your
G'day, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, did you feel the earthquake?
Oh, I did. I was actually midway through a push-up challenge.
Oh, God, here we
A
go.
good mate of mine, Chris Smith, challenged me to do 100 push-ups. So that's how I woke up to a tag on Instagram. So I thought, you know what, bugger it. I'm not in the best nick. I'll get up and have a go. And I got
the
to
earthquake. Might have been more quick today.
I got to about 25 and I thought, geez, I'm under a bit of pressure here. My arms are shaking and I collapsed in a big heap and next minute the walls were shaking. So, look, there's my earthquake story. Although, as we know in Melbourne, the government knee-jerk reactions everywhere. Apparently, Daniel Andrews has just announced that it's mandatory now to wear helmets indoors and outdoors.
Lockdown extended.
And the lockdown will be extended. So,
We can only laugh at
That
it.
was a joke, everybody.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just, people are on edge at the moment, Joey.
Yeah,
I don't want
sorry,
us
I'm just trying to lighten the
I
mood.
feel like we all need a drink at the moment just to calm
That's
down.
allowable. Oh,
Daisy, we just want to get you in because we've had some wonderful guests
Yes.
all talk about their grand final stories or some maybe untold stories. And we've had some heroic moments. Dale Morris playing with a broken back. We just had Stevie J earlier,
Shawnee
basically
Burgoyne.
dislocating a knee. Rui having a fitness test in a Box Hill hospital a night before the grand final. Any heroic stories from your good self?
well, mine's probably not as heroic as that, but
Play it up anyway.
Well, okay, I'll give it heaps. Yeah, it's probably one of the most heroic things you're ever likely to hear from a man of my stature. Only slight, just fearless in the way I approached the ball in those grand finals. But I have to take you back to round 16 or 17, I think it was. In 2010, we played, it was the Pies v the Saints at the MCG. And I got hit by Lenny Hayes. I think it was about near the second quarter, not the point. Ball came in, Brendan Goddard kicked it, and it was going to be Lenny and I was always going to get there first. So I was hoping for a good bounce, and so I could try and get through a Lenny Hayes tackle, which is
Pretty hard.
fraught with
Hard to
danger.
do.
Yeah, at the best of times. Unfortunately for me, the ball just sat up on its end a little bit, and I had to do the one where you know the contact's coming, and you got the decision: do you slap it and look a bit weak? And I remember in my second ever game at Etihad Stadium, I did that, and I got one of the all-time great Michael Malthouse bakes. So it's amazing what goes through your head in those little split seconds. That sort of went, no, grab it.
Yep.
So I grab it. Lenny comes at me, and he doesn't tackle me. He just puts a rugby league sort of style hit on me.
Yeah,
He-
he's
and
good
he-
at them.
Yeah.
and so his shoulder just straight in the bottom of my rib cage.
Cannoned.
Absolutely folded me up like a pocket knife. I was down, I was out. I think we actually had the audio from
Yes,
way
we
back
do.
when.
Yeah, good spot.
Yeah, so he absolutely mixed me. There's no two ways about it. Well done, Lenny Hayes. I'm not sure. Was that Spud calling that? He
Yeah.
obviously not too sympathetic for poor old Daisy, who's curled up on the ground there. So went to the bench, came off, and was in a bit of pain, but played on. Went and got a scan, and he actually cracked one of my ribs.
Wow.
Did Lenny. So for the rest of the year, I think that was around 16 or 17.
17.
Had to then continue to play out and getting an ultrasound after the second warm-up, the first warm-up, before the second warm-up, and get the rib coated with some a needle and some
Anesthetic.
some pain relief. So
Cortisone.
it was a gross feeling because they literally rub the needle across your rib and then slowly inject it to try and numb it because it's a bone, so you can't really do a lot with it. But that was my grand final stories.
Yeah, extraordinary. I still had 27 touches in that game.
It
too.
didn't slow me down. There's no worry about that.
So you're absolutely outstanding, mate. What were your recollections of obviously the draw, how you felt afterwards, and the genius of Michael Malthouse in terms of how he framed that follow-up game? Because you've got the feeling the Saints are a bit sort of flattened down in the dumps. Well, you guys did something a bit different.
Yeah, we did. Well, I think the biggest thing we did straight away was we went to our function and the Saints boys didn't, which at the time we pissed and moaned a little bit, to be completely honest with you. We're like, this is the last thing we want to do. Our family members have all been on the gas all day at the grand final, and then we have to go to the function, and they're going to continue to do that, and we have to sit here and drink waters and talk about it. But that was the best thing we did, because after a game, a big game especially, you go home, you can't sleep anyway. You're all wound up in a grand final. So we got out, we mingled. Mick delivered a great speech about it being halftime.
Yep.
He got up and he got everyone going. And from that point on, I think I can't really speak for Joe on this, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, Joey, but our mindset was that we were as close to losing a grand final as you ever could be without actually losing it. Whereas I think the Saints sort of felt like you were as close to winning a grand final as you ever could be without winning it, if that sort of makes sense.
Yep.
So
Glass half full.
yeah, well, and just the reality of it, we're in front for most of the day. We'd led for 104 or 5 minutes, I think it was, until BJ took that mark. So
And better team all year, really.
yeah. So, and we nearly gassed it, to be completely honest. We bombed the ball in long. So, to then come out the next week and rectify that, obviously fantastic. And, a completely different game with some big moments. A Heath-Shaw smother that started really the whole trend and trajectory of that game.
What a moment that was.
Daisy, you want a coffee? You want to stick around and have a bit more fun with us after the break?
I've got bugger all to do. So, yeah, good luck getting rid of me
We'll go
today.
get you a-
Hey, we talked about the 2010 grand finals. Collingwood prevailed in the replay over Joey Saints, of course. In 2011, you butted up again. Of course, you took on the Cats. And can I say, weren't you absolutely outstanding again with the 31 possessions? I'm surprised you weren't. I don't think you got any votes in the Norm Smith medal, but you damn should have, because 31 possessions and 5 hit-outs.
Yeah.
Since when were you a ruckman?
Third man up was my go back then, but we've seen, especially the year before, that they get the Norm Smiths wrong a lot. A great deal
Oh,
of
God,
time.
here we go. There's a kettle of fish.
No, well, look, as the only bloke who got votes in both the games, it's probably only fair that I should have got the medal. But anyway, I gave one to Lenny, and Pendles is still holding on to my other one. That's fine. That's neither here nor there, and I don't hold a grudge. But no, that 2011, look, fantastic year we had. Unfortunately for us, Chris Tarrant went down. Podsy Udley went down, broke his collarbone in that one. We then didn't really have a match-up for Chris Tarrant. Tom Hawkins turned into Wayne Carey, except he couldn't kick, so then he realised that he should just handball it to Stevie J, and we went on to that, and we got our pants pulled down. So unfortunately for Pies fans, and probably more one of our teammates, Ben Reid, who was playing on Tomahawk, we have our reunions now. And Heath-Shaw and I, well, any opportunity we get, we launch 3 deep over the top of him. Go, Tomahawk! So the wounds are probably still pretty rare for Ben.
Set Tom Hawk's career in motion, didn't it?
did,
From that grand final. He never looked back after that, Granny.
Who do you take the pee out of anyone, Joey, or is it still, like, could you go up and do the same thing to sort of BJ, or take that a bit seriously?
BJ, be good.
No, we've sort of steered
Cop
away
one.
from all the boys that missed all those goals in the 2009 grand final.
Do you mean Sam Gilbert?
Yeah.
No, that was 2010.
No, he was 2010. he
Yeah,
actually
sorry.
he turned the game in our favour in that second half
Well,
of
yeah, he
2010.
could have been the hero.
It's probably more the one that we feel was Milne's bounce. People still think Milne should have dived on the footy in the forward pocket, but he was never going to be able to get that ball the way it bounced.
Thinking back to 2010, the BJ mark, the BJ Goddard mark, that is a moment. The Tom Boyd goal, I got goosebumps. The Marlon Pickett goal that Dustin Martin passed to, got goosebumps in, and the BJ mark, that's when I thought St Kilda's going to win. He took a hanger in the square. That was an incredible, unforgettable grand final
Yeah,
moment.
it was. Big iconic moments. And he still says there would have been a statue outside of Moorabbin if we had have won that grand final, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. But Daisies, we have a look to the grand final because you are the best analyst in the business. We spoke on Monday that Triple M was the only one that gave Ollie Wines the big award for the best player in the competition. We were onto it. You were the man judging a lot of those games. How do you see the grand final panning out?
I think Melbourne will be too good defensively. I think that's been their strength all season long. Obviously, when the Dogs got or beat them back in round 19, I think it was 20 points, they went in tall and they were good enough to isolate those Melbourne defenders. And I think that's what they're going to have to try and do. Have they showed their cards a bit early? And obviously, you don't know who you're going to come up with, so you can only present what you think will win you the game on the night. But I think Melbourne will have some plans around that. So if Melbourne's defenders can be brave enough, and this is the big unknown, on grand final day, strange things happen. You don't know how you're going to handle the biggest occasion of all. Will you be ballsy enough to come across and leave your man if he's in the goal square and a lever has to come 20 metres and provide a fist knowing full well that someone's in the goal square? So this is why you practice and you implement these game plans and you have them down, because when the big moments come, you have to trust your instinct. You have to rely on your teammates to carry out the game plan implicitly. And I think if Melbourne can do that and hold their nerve, they'll be just too good for the Dogs. I think a 3 or 4 goal margin's probably fair, all things equal, but I expect the Dogs to throw a few curly ones at the Ds from the coach's box.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to it, Daisy. Enough that the top of the show, we touched on former teammate of yours, Sam Petreski-Seton, requesting a trade to West Coast. Just quickly, how do you rate Sam? How big a loss will he be for the Carlton Footy Club?
I can see him being one that the Carlton fans in a year's time go, geez, what are we doing letting him go? Or how didn't we keep him? How didn't we get the best out of him? Because he has unbelievable skills. We've seen him go through the middle a couple of times at the Blues. probably starved of a little bit of opportunity.
Yeah.
Some of it his own doing because
like
of the
him?
I do like him. I think he's a really good talent, and I think next year he'll be certainly in that conversation for recruit of the season. He's someone who could go to another club and have a really, really big say and impact there. And because he's pick 6.
Yep.
Like, pick 6 is a talented boy. So back home in WA too, close to his family, of course. He's a Halls Creek boy.
Yep.
A Rodeo rider back in his day. So
Wowzers.
he's a ripper. He loves it tough. He loves it hard, and he's got skills to match.
Daisy, we appreciate your time. Are you missing out on any cashies this week? I mean, I know Joey's ruining the day that he can't get over to Perth and, get that extra money for this week.
Yeah, I am. I've been flat. I've been actually, since I've retired, I haven't been able to do any of them. So, again, I told you I don't hold a grudge. It was a complete lie. I do. It's absolute bull twang. I'm flat. All these stories that I've saved up and could actually give a bit of colour to and lag a few blokes in now that I'm not playing are still just sitting there in the vault. So good
I will
news
just
is
say-
for 2022. Hopefully we're out and about. So if you need someone, book me in advance. Jump on. No, I'm just joking. Just before we go, Joey, I just thought I could bring this and you could have a...
Daisy.
No, I just...
He's brought in the medal.
Actually,
The 2010 Premiership medal is in Joey's hand, and his eyes are just starting to glass over and well up. And
it's,
No,
not that,
because
it's not that good.
when you're playing a draw, you're very close to winning one. So just a little bad luck on the end.
You're a good sport, Joey. And so are you, Days. Thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate you jumping in on Dead Set Legends right here on 105.1 Triple M.